Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to stitch using a needle and thread. Alright, so I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying, how do I sew? I don't have a sewing machine, I don't have this, I don't have that. So today I will be showing you how to make stitches using this hand needle and your sewing thread. Alright, so if that is what you're interested in, let's get right into today's tutorial. Do not forget to click on the subscribe button, like, share, and click on the notification bell so that this tutorial will always come to you first thing once we post it. Let's get right into today's tutorial. So the tools I have ready for this tutorial is my thread. Alright, so I'll be using something that is going to just come out, okay, something that will make you see exactly what I am doing. So I chose this orange thread right here, and then the next thing I'm going to be using is my hand sewing needle, right? So you can get whatever size you want, but then I would advise you to get a size that is a little bit bigger, maybe the medium size, so that you can double your thread while stitching. So I'm now done fixing this. The next thing I'm going to do is to tie the bottom of my thread. The very first stitch I am going to stitch right here is the running stitch. This is the very first basic stitch that you would learn while sewing. Alright, the running stitch is otherwise called the gathered stitch. Now, how do I do this? The very first thing I need to do is to insert my needle from the butt right here, okay? So the reason I'm doing that is so that my thread is not going to be visible, okay? That knot that I tied there will not be visible. Then I am going to go ahead and run my stitch. The next stitch I am going to show you how to run is the back stitch. Now, as the name implies, this is a stitch that goes backward, alright? And this stitch is actually used if you need something that is tighter, okay?
Now, the first thing you do is to fix your thread from the bottom, okay? And then after that, I would make my first stitch to look like a running stitch. Then I would now go back again, okay, and then I would move forward. So basically all you need to do is to keep going back to the last stitch that you had made earlier and then move forward again, okay? Go back to the last stitch you made earlier, move forward. That's all a back stitch is about. So the next stitch we're going to be making is the split stitch. Now the split stitch is great for doing lovely straight or curved lines or outlines. So to sew the split stitch, the first thing you'd have to do is to fix your thread under, okay. And then after that I would sew as if I'm making the first running stitch. Then I would go back, but this time I'm not going back like the back stitch. I am fixing my needle in between threads, okay. So every time I go back, I'm not going to the end. I am fixing my needle in the middle of what I just finished sewing. I have to make sure that it is in the middle of another stitch. All right, so look closely at what I am doing and you would understand.
The next stitch right here is the blanket stitch. Okay, to stitch the blanket stitch, I'm going to enter from the side that is going to be invisible. So from this point right here, I'm going to come here, and then I would come here as so. And then I'll make sure that I will not allow the thread to finish, alright? Then I would fix my thread like this and so, okay? So I'm going to continue doing the same thing right here. I'm going to come here, and then I'll go up here, and then so, okay, keep going on like that. Come here, go up there, and then I would pick my thread right here. Okay, so this is what the blanket stitch looks like.
Like I said earlier, the function of the blanket stitch is used to hem your fabric, all right? So since this is hand embroidery or hand stitching, in case you are done stitching your dress and you want to hem the clothes because you do not have a weaving machine, you can go ahead and do this at the hem of your cloth. The next stitch right here is the stem stitch. Now to sew the stem stitch, I'm going to make my first stitch. Then after that, I would move forward and come backward. Now I will make sure that I pass my needle from a thread, okay. Then I would move forward again and come back, just like the back stitch, but the only difference here is that I need to pass my needle through a thread. That's I'm carrying a thread to cross over on my needle, okay, so that it will give us that stem look. Now I hope you can see what I am doing right here. Now I'm done stitching on the stem stitch, and the next stitch right here is a straight stitch. To sew the straight stitch right here, this is actually the simplest and yet mostly unused stitch that you can ever know. So the best thing is just to fix your first thread from the bottom and then take it straight to the end of whatever you're sewing and tighten it. That's all for the straight stitch. Now the next stitch right here is the chain stitch, and for this chain stitch, every stitch is a link to the other one, okay. That's why when I stitch forward, I'll have to use my thread to cross over. That way I'm linking the first stitch to the second stitch, just as I am doing right here. So once I make my stitch, I am going to use the thread to cross it over in a chain like form. All right, so look at whatever I am doing right here and you would understand. So I'm actually done with the chain stitch, and this is how it looks, okay. It has that chain form. If you actually know what a chain looks like, this is exactly what it is. So now the final stitch I'll be showing you right here is the cross stitch. So to make the cross stitch, I'm going to insert my needle first right here as so on the very first line. Then after that, on the second line, I am going to cross over to the other side and then fix my thread and then cross over to the first line again, just like what you saw there. Okay, then after doing that, I am going to go back again as a cross. Remember, this is a cross, and then I am going to finish it up on the other side that I had started. Okay, so this is better watched than explained.
Here I would do the same thing again. I would go here, and then I would have a cross effect right here, and then I would take it back to where I entered from. Alright, so this is it, how to make a cross effect. Okay, pick it right here, enter here, make sure that your thread does not tangle inside of it, and then I would come here, okay, cross it over to this point right here. Do not allow your thread to tangle, okay? It's going to be a
So I'm going to keep doing the exact thing over and over again till I get to the finishing line. So I'm actually done with the cross stitch right here and with every other stitch. So in subsequent tutorial, I am going to be showing you how to implement some of these stitches to actually make a full dress, from hand sewing to hemming the dress. All right, so if this video has actually helped you, do well to click on the like button, subscribe, remember, and also click on the notification bell so that whenever I post a new tutorial, you'll be the first to know. All right, and also see you in the next tutorial. Bye.